All right, welcome to another one of these tutorial things. This one I'm going to do stylized hair. So it's how to use the hair particles to create physical hair strands, physical geometry. I mean, obviously they're clumps, hair clumps, I guess. But using the particle tools, we can do things like this, make it all yiggity yaggity, or we can do a classic kind of 90s hair quiff, or a steampunk head claw, it looks like. But yeah, I'm going to show you how we do these and how we create these. And also we're going to mid-process create this material, which is literally a picture of hairs, and yeah, and then we'll make the material so it looks a bit more hair-like. And I think we're going to make two. We're not going to make Mike and Lodi. We're going to do these two, and we'll start with the simplest, which is Mr. Rian. So if I close Bessie and we get cracking, ignore all the particle systems I've already got. I'm going to hide that, I think. And we're going to, just like the other tutorials before this, we're going to add a particle system, a new one, make it hair. And I'm probably 0.3, maybe. Want a bit of length to his jiggity jaggedy. Okay, 0.3. And again, I haven't said this, but just put your own model in the place if you want, whatever. Put a sphere, doesn't matter. This is just about how to do the hair to make these stylized things. Okay, 0.3. As usual, I'm going to put, and I've learned something else about, I'm always learning, it's wonderful, about the viewport display, which we shall discuss as we go further. So I want no hairs. And just like in the example, I just want a band of hairs going around the scalp. So I've got my hair particle system ready. Particle edits. If your menu's not here, press T, but also shift space, add. And I'm going to check my settings first. Keys, because I want it. Jiggity, jiggity, yeah. I probably want 10 keys, I think. Might be useful. I don't want interpolate yet, and I want that on 1. Okay, so I'm going to start on the right hand side, and I'm just going to start placing a couple of hairs. I'm also going to put that view on. So I'm probably going to make a couple of layers of these, but thankfully once these are out, we don't have to do anything. If this is the hairstyle that you're looking to add to your model or creature or whatever, we're going to use the hair kink to make it what we want. But I'm probably going to cut this to maybe there, at the back especially. Lovely. Lovely. All right. And now I actually found I never use this view or EV very rarely, because I built the infinite builders and they all need cycles. If you go into EV or work mode, viewport material preview mode, it crashes Blender. Hence why I make it clear that the infinite builders should be used in cycles. But we're not using it, so we can do it in this one. And what I would like is to first, we need a new material for his head. We've got one, material 14. So I just want to make, because then it'll be easier to see our particles if we change the rendered material to that one. There we go. Now we can see them. We need to add children, because you can't get the kink without adding the children. And as usual, we need to bring the radius down to 0.04, maybe. Can I get away with 4? Yeah, totally. And straight to, we'll do roughness afterwards. And again, this is a specific style of hair. I want a crazy Professor Einstein type thing. So I'm going to see what I get with a wave. And if you've seen the previous ones, we know that's down to the amplitude, 0.03, and frequency 10. Too much. Fonf, too little. 7 for happy medium. Okay, so now all our hairs are kinking. And what I tend to do is I try and find a random length. It should be that if it's on size 1, so this is the hair length at 1, if I change randomize size, it should randomize the children. But guess what? It doesn't at all. So I'm not, I mean, it even says random variations to the size of the child particles, but I'm not seeing anything change with these two, even though we have children. So what I need to do is look at length and threshold. So I'm going to bring the length down, and then I'm going to mess with the threshold so that some of them, see how some of them are getting a bit longer, and that's the best I can figure out to do. If we add roughness, this will spread it out, and again, endpoints, put that at 0.5 maybe. There we go. And we're really, really close. I'm just going to, before we make this into geometry, I'm going to add a few more. And again, we don't need to change it because it's all reliant upon the hair particle system itself. So just filling it out, dropping a few, oh, not that one, that looks like it's in the same place. I don't want hairs. We're going to have to cut these. I should have, like I keep saying, selected all the hairs that were there previously and then pressed H to hide them, but I didn't do that. So, and actually no, I can just cut them. It's fine. I don't need to do that because I'm not combing them. All right. So let's cut these to length. Bit less at the back. Might have gone too far on that side. So I'm going to lengthen these three. All right. And that looks like an effective fuzz. Now, I'll go through the process of converting this to a mesh, converting these particles to a mesh. The first time I do it, I'm going to do it slowly, step by step, with no shortcuts. I'm going to explain to you how to make them your shortcuts, and then I'm going to do it very fast without explaining how to get there, just what I'm doing. Because making these and getting the shape right and everything requires me anyway regularly to convert these into a mesh, give them geometry, check it, delete it, come back, change the particles or add more or delete them or move them, whatever, go back, check them by adding geometry. You see what I mean? So it's really useful to get into a quick pattern to turn this into geometry. So the first thing we need to do is click on our head. You probably won't have any of these, but just the latest one, whatever particle system is the one you're using, convert that to a mesh. Now we need to turn this into curves, and it's in my quick menu. I'm hoping I can do it here. Object, select, hang on. How do I make that? I'm going to pause this because I have, curve. No, can't do that. Right, I'm going to pause it. Okay, so yeah, object, convert, curve. And now all of this is fuzzy old curves. And we want to give this some geometry. But before we do that, we need two things. We need a shape to tell it what shape we want these individual hairs to be. And we want the taper object to edit the shape and the thickness of the hair and whatnot. And the quickest way to do that, Shift A, mesh, plane, drop it over here, probably scale it down significantly, and then tab into edit mode. It's already got everything selected, so press X, only faces, and that leaves us with this. And we need that into a curve. So again, object, convert, curve. And now I'm going to tell you, right click on that, add to quick favorites. Trust me, because you're going to be doing it a lot. So add, convert to mesh to your quick object, quick functions, quick menu. Did I do it? So curve. Now it's a curve, but I would like, that's a very square shape. I would like it more rounded, but still with few vertices. So I've just subdivided all of it, and I'm just going to bring those out. And that gives it a bit more of a round shape. And then Shift A, and we want a NURBS curve. For some reason, I always have to rotate it on the X by 90. And make that much smaller. Okay. And what we need to do straight away is select these 2 points, subdivide. So now we've got 3 points there. Okay, if we click on this mesh and we go, these curves, over here you've got curve under data, and the important tab is this one, geometry. And the first thing we need to do under bevel is object, and then select, let's call them something, shall we? Let's call that shape. I wanted that in caps, I'm already in caps. Shape. And this one is taper. Okay, so again, click on the curves, object, under geometry bevel, we want shape, which will do that. And then under taper object, we want taper. And now if we select the taper, we can start messing with this. So you imagine this is these hairs, if they were laid out on their side, that's kind of how this works. So it's very flat, which means it's flat from the whole across the shape. So I want the ends to taper. So I just need to bring this down, and you can see, okay, I think, I know what I need to do. We need to scale down the shape so that we can see the hairs. That would have been a good first step. I've actually got way more children than I need, so I'm going to delete that because that's just too much geometry. It's unnecessary because I think I've left it at 10. So back into your particle settings for this and put your children to 2. Maybe 3. Display amount 3. Render amount is irrelevant because we're not rendering the hairs themselves. All right, let's try that. So again, quick process, convert to mesh, convert that to a curve, go into your objects, change that to shape, and change taper object to taper. And that looks a bit better. Though I think I want more spazzing up. So I'm going to close that. You see what I mean about getting used to a quick process of doing this. So back into particle edit mode, and I'm going to add a few, a bit more at the top so they stick up a bit. They're not sticking up. So I am going to hide all them because I might get these ones to angle up a bit more. I want him to have a funny little crown type affair. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to comb these. I'm going to go to the back, Control 1. And I just want to comb them up somewhat. Oh, I've gone crazy over there. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're a bit jagged, janky. Probably would have been easier to do it from the side. Nick. All right. Bit long, so I'm just going to cut cut them down. Doink, doink, doink. Okay. That looks a bit better. So now we want to convert that to a mesh, convert that to a curve, put in our shape, and put in our taper. Oh, right, that should be taper. That should be shape. That, I mean, there's some scraggly ones, but that's fine. Fortunately, in this position, if you don't like some of them, you can just select. I don't want them, so I'm going to choose them. Remember, select linked, select, and then it's in here somewhere. Select linked, add that to your quick menu. Select linked, and I'm going to remove them. Okay, all right, that's not bad. So now we need to turn that into a mesh. So we need to click this. Remember, object, convert, mesh. And now we have physical geometry. That's a good time for me to show you something that I discovered recently. So I'm just going to delete that. I might go into this mode. So what I mentioned earlier about viewport display, it's not just the viewport display like it suggests. This will dictate how many strand steps are required once you convert it to curves. So at the moment it's on 5. If you see what happens, if I put that up to 7, it will dramatically increase the resolution. So now I'm just going to quickly apply that, make that a curve, make that the right object shape. Right, no, taper. Now, if I convert this to a mesh now, you see how much more additional geometry is there. It's unnecessary. It's silly hair. We don't need all that. So that's down to how many strand steps were set before I converted it. So what you need to do is get that setting right. How many do you actually need? I don't need 7. So I'm going to go back to, you see it changing anyway, but this is also how it will render. So I'm going to go 4, see what that looks like, and convert, make it a curve, give that a shape, and give that a taper. Let's have a look. And then let's convert that to, excuse my dog. See how less geometry that has taken. So that is good. Okay, so now we've got that pretty much ready for texturing and whatnot. It's a bit, you get the gist. Now I'll show you how I made the hair material. So just add yourself a plane. There will do, whatever. Stretch it on the X, so it's quite long, and probably stretch it on the Y, or shrink it on the Y. Apply scale, so Control A, scale, and then go to particles, add hair, probably 1,000, hair length 10 meters, because we want it to fill. And if we just add a material to the thing and then add another one, material 17, change the material of the render to the last one you just made. And if we go into render mode, we don't want principled, we want a principled hair. So in your shader editor, Shift A, shader, principled hair. And I mean, I did a brown one, and I've got all other colors just using the brown. I didn't need to add a different colors, because I just changed the colors with hue saturation filters, or add in different colors, whatever. So let's do children to this to fatten it out to simple. Display amount 100, and I'm going to position my sun so that it's shining on this a little better. Let me see. Which way is it? Where is it? It's going down. There we go. I just want to brighten it up a bit and get a bit of variation. Let's have a look. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to align my camera. I think you can find it, align camera to view. It's been previous tutorials. And I just want to fill the camera screen, Control B, just so block out everything else. I'm going to go up and like a little bit of something at the end. About there. I think, yeah, that'll do. And then I'm going to set my render settings to 200, should do it. And then I'm going to render this out. Right, and I'm going to save this into Stylized hair pung. That'll do. All right, and that is all we need for the hair texture. So now we can delete this. And I'm going to explain something which I stumbled upon, which I was so happy this happened by default, and you'll see why. So we need to make a new material for this hair. So click New, and Principled will be fine. We want to add a Shift A texture, image texture, and open Hair, and drop that in there. And you can see it's gone the wrong way. And when I initially saw this, I panicked. I'm like, how am I going to get all the hairs to unwrap so that the thing, but I didn't need to. Well, I stumbled on a way to do it, and then it just seems to happen. So let's get going. Let's see what we can do about this. So we want to use the UVs that have come once you convert this to a mesh. Unbelievably, they're perfect. So add yourself a Shift A input texture coordinate, go from UV, and watch the magic happen. Doink. Nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? I know why. Because we need to rotate the UVs. So go into your UV editor, select that so that they're doubly selected, and we've just selected every single face. And this is where the magic happens. If you rotate it on the whatever, scale it on the Y, scale it out on the X, and then when we go back, look at that. It's all following the hair without any work at all. When I saw that happen, I was like, yes, yes. All right, so we've got the hair going in the right place. If I'm just going to shove on a subdiv, because I don't like shade smooth. If I can avoid it, I will avoid it. All right, let's just give it a bit, make it look a bit nicer. All right, we also need to hide the particle system, which is underneath. Doink. And now we've just got the hairs. I would like more subdiv, so 2. That's better. No, 3 for now. There we go. All right. So we need to add a bit of texture to this hair. So we use a Shift A converter color ramp. Drop that into there. And then we want a bump. So Shift A vector bump. Drop that in height. Drop that in there. And just double check this, Control Shift click that. What I want is a bit more variation. So I'm going to crank up that white and then bring up the black a bit as well. Just so we've got some good bump variation. Why does it go so dark at the end there? That's weird. That's cool, but I don't know why it does that. All right. And then if we Control Shift click the Principled and just check our bump, we need to increase that, probably filter width 0.2 and a bit more distance 0.3 and a bit more strength 2. Let's go 2 and a bit more width. All right. So we've got a little bit of bump. Now what we want is some variation in the roughness. So just copy your color ramp, reset it, drop that in there, and let's have a butcher's. Now we don't want too much black. So bring the white right up. We just want some strands, which will be black, to be reflective. And then that will go into roughness. And black is too much, so we want to bring that up to maybe that. And I don't want the color at all. So I'm just going to put in a color, hue saturation, and then drop the saturation to nothing. Cool. It's a bit darker. So what I would like to do is add, so Shift A color ramp, converter color ramp, and change that to constant. and just add a few variations of greys and whites with a bit of difference between every color. Let's make you a bit less white. And then if you shift A, input, I think it's geometry. Oh, yeah, geometry. Random per island, right there. Drop that into there. And we don't need this, so I'm going to Control X that. And I'm going to Shift A, converter, mix color. I'm going to put the main color in A, the addition there, ramp it up, put that to add, and then drop that into the principled. And that will significantly lighten the hair. And as you see, depending on each strand is slightly different shade of grey, because we've used a random selection of these 4 colours. You could add more if you wanted. But that is Mr. Ryan done. Okay, so that was 10 minutes. Now let's look at Bessie, I think it was. I need to move that. Oh, I've turned my thing off. Move that to Mr. Ryan. So this one was a little bit more complex, and it took a few more different techniques to get this. But again, it's using the same hair texture that we made earlier. So should we get cracking with that one? All right. On Bessie here, there's 3 different particle systems. The fringe, the big locks, and then these little sporadic ones that bend out. So let's do something about that. And then they all are. So I'm just going to hide. On this one, actually, I made a copied duplicate head. So I don't want this one selectable. I want that one. Okay. So to start with, I will go with the fringe. 0.3. New 0.2. You know what? I can cut it. Okay. And I don't want any of them. So I'm going to add the fringe, and I'll pause it, speed it up as I do it. Just going to stop here quickly because now I'm going to interpolate. Now that I've got my guide hairs, I'm going to interpolate, and let's carry on. All right, I think the fringe might be nearly ready. I'm just going to check my viewport display. Don't need a great deal, so we'll just leave that at 3, and we'll put simple. Put this to 0.03, and I'm going to change the material to that. Okay. That's probably too many children, so I'm going to take the children down to 3. And I'm probably going to add another one in the middle there. Add. That's better. It's looking a bit jagged up there, so I might have to have a few more. Another. Yep. So 4 strand steps has smoothed that out more than enough. All right, so let's convert this to a mesh. So again, I'm going to just hide the ones that aren't being used. This is our new one, convert to mesh, and then convert that to a curve. Give it a shape and a, no, that needs to be taper, that needs to be shape. Let's have a look. Let me just give some color. So let's take, wait, what was the material? I should have named the material for Mr. Ryan, because we're going to use it. It's Hairy 04. Yeah, when you make your hair material, give it a name, be easier. So I want Hairy 04. And I'll show you how to give that some color. So this is just the UV because it's not a mesh yet. Let's make it a mesh, shall we? So convert to a mesh. Remember, object convert mesh. Select all of them, rotate it in your UV editor, scale it on the Y, scale it on the X, brush. And now we can just add some color. So let's say, well, we're going to have some, well, just a reddish, maybe, I guess. So I'm just going to add a bit of color to each one of these pips. We don't need to edit the shade because we know they're all different. Bit of pink. No, that's ridiculous. And lastly, a bit of orange. All right. I mean, it's ridiculous color hair there, but it's all right. All right. So that's the first bit. The next bit is we're going to add a new particle system for the long bits. So hair and probably 0.6. Yeah, 0.6, like, lovely. And we're going to need at least probably 4 path steps. Put that at 0 and shift space. Q particle edit, shift space, add, and now I do need. I put 10 keys on all of them. I don't think I needed 10 on these. Never mind. Actually, that might be useful to check. I'm going to delete that. I think if these all got 10 keys, if they have, that's too much. And I need to check the right particle settings, which is this system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they do. So I'm going to reduce that. So I'm going to select all of these, go to particle, rekey, particles, rekey, and I'm going to go 5. And unfortunately, you have to press enter twice. Yep. All right. It hasn't changed much at all, but that means it's much lower resolution, which is what we want. Okay, so back to particle, the new particle system we just added. Make sure my interpolate is off because it'll mess up. And I'm going to, well, what I tend to do is I want the hairs to overlap. These are going to be brushed back. So I will put these hairs, that's too many. I will put these hairs behind the roots that are already down so that we don't get baldy gaps. We might still, but all right. And I'm just going to comb all these back. I'm going to check my emitter distance, which is 0.25, which is probably fine because there is another mesh that sits on the top of this one. I think I need more length. Probably. So I'm going to give that a bit more. I wish I've tried selecting and just lengthening the selection, but it still lengthens the whole hair. I don't know why it needs to do that. You can't seem to select which bits you don't want to comb. Okay. Probably a bit high, so I'm going to drop that to 0.2. My deflector emitter distance, whatever. And that is looking sufficiently nice. Just going to kink out the hairs at the side here. There we go, a bit of a wave. And we're going to have to come around the side. So I'm going to press A, H, hide all these. And yeah. And then we're going to start here, probably. Turn off interpolate, it is. And I just want some to comb down to the sides like this. Kinky kink. 3. Just mess up the hair a bit, make it look a bit wavy. Yeah, that looks nice. Actually, I could probably come out a little bit. All right, and then the same on the other side. I'm going to speed this up now. Right, I'm probably going to need more guide hairs, but I also need to change the material in that new particle system we just added. All right, and let's just see what that looks like as a mesh. Or first, let's add some children. Children, and 0.03 for the radius, and display amount 3. Maybe less. 2. No, 3. Let's do 3. All right. Now let's see what this looks like as a mesh. Convert to mesh. Convert to a curve. Give it a shape. And give it a taper. Okay. So, what I need to do actually is take the shape and the taper, which are over here, duplicate those with Shift D, and just leave, it doesn't matter, just leave them at the name. And then for this curve, we're going to change the shape to shape 001 and the taper to taper 001. So now we can edit the shape so that it doesn't affect the Rian one. So select shape 001 and we're just going to make that bigger, which instantly solves the majority of our problems. Still probably need a few more hairs here, a few there. So while that's there, I'm going to go back into particle edit mode on the model, and I'm going to add, I'm going to press AH to hide all the others, and I'm just going to drop hairs where I can see they need to be. So 3 there, probably another one about there, and another one there, and another one there, and another one there. I should do it like, right. I'll speed this up. Okay, there we go. So I've just made sure that those gaps are filled, so that when we make this a mesh again, we shouldn't have any dodgy, scalpy areas. Okay. Right, so I'm going to delete that one now. And I'm going to go back to the model, convert the second mesh, which is that one, convert to a curve, give it the shape 001 and the taper 001. All right, let's have a look. And also material, it needs a material. You're under render, which is, where's it gone? Particles. Where's me? Oh yeah, no, it's because it's a mesh. We need to give it, oh hello. Yeah, we got some problems there. Okay, that's useful because we can fix that. So what we need to do is drag the root positions down into the head. Oh wait, hang on, if I press up, there is actually, I've forgotten. Alt H, get rid of that. Yeah, we still need to do it. Because I say, there's this mesh is a copy of this one, but scaled, sorry, this mesh, you can't select it. You can only select that one. So we need to drag these roots into the scalp more. So delete that, particle edit, and which ones, let's go, is it the first one or the second one? It's the second one. Okay, Alt Z. So it's these roots here. Weirdly, it's starting, I also didn't close the gaps under, well, we'll get there. That is strange. Why the roots? Okay, so we just need to lower the roots of these ones at the top. So I need these guys. And then probably you. You. And if you're Shift A, select, so we're in select box over here, make sure root positions is off, and then just press, just go to the side and just drag them further into the scalp. There, that might do it. And then put root positions back on. So often I forget that and I make a right mess. Okay, so let's try and convert. I don't know what's this? Oh, right, okay. I don't need that. All them. Okay, so let's convert that second particle system to a mesh. Curve. Give it a shape 001, wasn't it? I believe. I didn't close the gaps because we do that here. So shape 001. And no, that's taper. Taper 001. Object shape 001. Fill caps. And there we go. I'm all right with that. We've dragged them successfully into the scalp. There's a gap there, but whatever. While that's there, let's convert the other one. The first one to a mesh, our fringe. Convert that to a curve. Give it shape, the first one. And give the taper the first taper. All right. Okay, let's just, so now we've done that, let's convert it all to a mesh. So convert that to a mesh, convert that to a mesh, and give it hair 004, give them both whatever you've named it. And I'm going to definitely need a subdiv on that, probably up to 2, and one on that one, subdiv 2. And then let's head over, and we just need to unwrap them or just edit the wrap. I mean, if you wanted like dreadlocky type things, I guess, but I don't. So I'm going to select all those, and I'm going to press Control, by the way, when I rotate, because it does it in increments. Scale on the Y, scale on the X, push, select all, rotate, hold Control. It's gone slow, don't know why. Probably because I've got the subdiv on. I'm going to turn that off. SY, scale it on the Y, scale it on the X. Boom. Turn the subdiv back on. There we go. I mean, you know how to change the colour of the hair now and get individual colours. But I think that's realistically as much as you need to know. If you do turn off root positions, which you will need to do quite regularly, make sure you put it back on, because when you comb and you realise you've dragged them off the head, it sucks. All right, I'm not going to do the third bit. That's just for the strandly bits, I just made a new shape and a new taper, so it would be shape 2 and taper 2, and then I just made them thinner, so that they looked a bit more wispy-like. So there was thinner hairs, about this thin, so I could probably use that. But anyway, that's literally how you turn these into meshes, stylized hair. You can decimate, I would recommend it, decimate everything, especially that. There's probably still too much resolution in there. But yeah, that's how you do your stylized hair jobby. That's how you get cool stuff. And also how you make messes. But yeah. And yeah, now you see how I made those. You can figure out how I made these. Same thing, just there's 3 particles here. There's one at the front for the big fat bits. There's a second one. I know there's only 2. One at the front, and then the second one for the strandy bits there. And then with Lodi, it's just 1. And I just selected all the vertices and scaled them together to make them pinch. But that is all you need to know to make some jabbly stylized hair. All right. I hope, again, that was enjoyable. I've been Nick, you've been you. I look forward to the next one. Bye.